Welcome to The Hidden Scrolls, where we focus on history, folklore, and mythology. Title: The History and Lore of Goblins. Introduction. Goblins have been a significant part of folklore, literature, and fantasy for centuries. These mischievous and sometimes malevolent creatures have roots in various cultures, each interpreting them in unique ways. From medieval European tales to modern fantasy settings, goblins have evolved in appearance, behavior, and cultural significance. This presentation explores the history, characteristics, and various depictions of goblins throughout time. Origins and early folklore. The origins of goblins can be traced back to medieval European folklore. The word goblin is believed to derive from the Old French gobelin, which in turn may have its roots in the Greek kobolos, meaning rogue or trickster. These beings were often depicted as small, ugly creatures that delighted in causing trouble for humans. Goblins first appeared in written records in the 12th century, notably in Norman France and England. They were associated with mischief, often blamed for household disturbances, theft, and leading travelers astray. Unlike benevolent house spirits such as brownies, goblins were typically portrayed as malevolent or, at best, chaotic, neutral beings. Goblins in mythology and folklore. Different cultures have their own interpretations of goblins. European folklore. In English and Germanic tales, goblins were often equated with boggarts or kobolds, household spirits that could be helpful or harmful depending on how they were treated. Some legends depicted them as guardians of hidden treasures. Scottish and Irish folklore. Creatures like the red cap, a murderous goblin that soaked its hat in the blood of its victims, and the cluricon, a drunken mischief maker, share similarities with goblins. Japanese folklore. While not explicitly goblins, creatures like the tengu and oni share some characteristics, such as their trickster nature and sometimes malevolent behavior. Norse mythology. Dwarves and trolls share similarities with goblins, often depicted as subterranean dwellers, skilled in craftsmanship and cunning. Goblins in literature. Goblins have played a crucial role in literature, often serving as antagonists or mischievous tricksters. Fairy tales and medieval stories. Goblins appeared in folk stories such as those collected by the Brothers Grimm, where they were depicted as troublemakers or tormentors of humans. Victorian literature. The 19th century poem The Goblin Market by Christina Rossetti portrays goblins as dangerous yet enticing beings who tempt young women with magical fruits. Modern fantasy. Goblins gained further prominence in fantasy literature, notably in J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings, where they are depicted as corrupted, malicious creatures akin to orcs. In J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series, goblins are intelligent bankers, controlling the wizarding world's economy through Gringotts Bank. Goblins in popular culture. Modern depictions of goblins vary widely, from comical to terrifying. Fantasy role-playing games. In Dungeons & Dragons, D&D, goblins are portrayed as weak but cunning adversaries, often appearing in hordes. Video games. Many video games, including World of Warcraft and The Elder Scrolls, depict goblins as traitors, inventors, or warriors. Movies and television. Goblins have appeared in various media, such as the 1986 film Labyrinth, where they are portrayed as mischievous minions of the Goblin King. Common characteristics of goblins. Although goblins differ across cultures, they share several common traits. Size and appearance. Typically small with grotesque or exaggerated features such as large noses, pointed ears, and sharp teeth. Behavior. Tricksters, thieves, or outright malevolent beings, often dwelling in caves, forests, or other hidden places. Abilities. Some goblins are depicted as skilled craftsmen, particularly in metalwork, while others use magic or alchemy. Weaknesses. Often cowardly, greedy, or easily manipulated, making them both a nuisance and an easy foe to defeat. The evolution of goblins. Over time, goblins have evolved from simple folkloric tricksters into complex fantasy races with their own cultures and histories. Some modern interpretations depict them as intelligent beings with societies, rather than just chaotic monsters. Conclusion. Goblins have fascinated and terrified people for centuries, evolving from medieval tricksters to fully developed fantasy creatures. Whether seen as malevolent mischief makers or cunning merchants, they remain an enduring staple of folklore and popular culture. As fantasy continues to evolve, so too will the role of goblins in stories, games, and media, ensuring their place in our collective imagination for generations to come.